For the newest tech, coolest tech, and the craziest tech stories available on the interwebs.
A man caught clinging to the back of a speeding train. Tune in to your weekly tech update right here on the NCW Life channel.
Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCW Life Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And boy, conditions sure changed this afternoon. We were enjoying some sunshine out there with increasing clouds around noon. But by late this afternoon, increasing clouds, a little bit of snow flurry activity around the Wenatchee Valley, and some fog now setting in as we look down at the Wenatchee Valley and the beautiful Columbia River. And what we're seeing right now, a large dip in the jet stream, and that is allowing colder air to move down. You can see the driving area of low pressure just above Montana. That spins counterclockwise, and it's dragging all of that polar air right down throughout the western United States, especially along the Intermountain West. And then to the east of us, New York City, 72 degrees today. So on the other side of that, where we're seeing the ridge, much warmer temperatures. And we'll stick with these cooler temperatures for at least a couple more days before some changes are headed our way by the weekend. More on that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the news stories we're following for you tonight. The proposed carbon tax debate rages on in Olympia, and the state Senate has signed off on abolishing the death penalty in Washington state. But first, we begin tonight. Officials with the Wenatchee Police Department have released the names of the individuals involved in a fatal vehicle collision involving a snowplow on Skyline Drive on Saturday. Just before 8:30 a.m., a Chelan County Public Works snowplow and a 1990 Honda Civic CRX collided when the CRX lost control traveling eastbound, striking the plow's blade and destroying the front end of the car. Police identified the driver of the vehicle as 22-year-old Angel Oropeza Palacios of Kashmir, who was treated for minor injuries and released from the hospital the same day. His passenger, 20-year-old Nina Carroll of Wenatchee, died as a result of injuries sustained in that collision. The driver of the snowplow, 64-year-old Jerry Gosvener of Kashmir, was not injured. Police say there was almost 2 inches of fresh snow on the roadway, playing a role in the CRX losing traction and crossing the center line of that roadway. Well, a proposed carbon tax in Washington state was on the agenda for discussion this morning at the Chelan County PUD Commissioners' morning work session. The proposed tax is currently being debated in Olympia and received a hearing last week before the Senate Ways and Means Committee. Senator Raven Carlisle sponsored the bill.
The guiding principle is that the program has to first and foremost work. It has to reduce CO2 emissions dramatically and substantially, and this program accomplishes that. Gets us to 25% below our 1990 level our 1995 level by 2035.
Among those raising concerns was Carolyn Logue with the Washington Food Industry Association.
There are 2 things that our industry needs, trucks and electricity. We have to keep our food cold. We have to keep the stores warm. We have not found a way to transport food to all our little stores and all the communities around the state without using a transportation truck system. We are very concerned about what the impact does in an industry that generally in our retail stores averages about 1% profit margins.
Meanwhile, 12th District Representative Mike Steele says he's doubtful that a proposed tax on carbon emissions will be good for north central Washington. The Chelan Republican expressed his concerns on this week's the 12th District program right here on the NCW Life channel.
You know, I think it's really important that for the 12th District we recognize just how potentially impactful negatively that carbon tax could be. You know, there is an ag exemption, but that ag exemption only exists when you're on your farm. The minute you hit the pavement and you're taking bins to the warehouse or whatever, you're going to be paying that tax. And really, I believe, I've said all along, I feel like this is a tax on the poorest among us, those folks that are having to drive into our district as housing prices and everything go up and the things we're dealing with in the 12th District. We see these folks having to commute farther and farther, and they're going to have to pay these taxes. It's just really a poor way to deal with it. If we want to solve or deal with carbon emission, let's deal with carbon emission. And another tax is not the way to do that, in my personal opinion.
The measure is now being debated in the Senate after it passed out of committee last week. 12th District Senator Brad Hawkins is a member of that committee, but said he's still undecided.
I did not expect the bill to come up for a vote in committee that night, and we actually had a proposed substitute to that bill that I was trying to understand the impacts for our district. So instead of voting no, I voted what's called without recommendation, which it isn't a yes, it's part of the minority opinion without recommendation. But I voted without recommendation because I'm trying to keep an open mind to understand the impacts to our area.
The proposal would tax fossil fuel emissions at $12 a metric ton and increase by $1.80 a year until it reaches $30 a metric ton. This would be an initial 18-cent a gallon increase. The state Senate has signed off on abolishing the death penalty in Washington state. The chamber voted 26-22 last Wednesday to repeal the law and instead change capital punishment for life in prison without parole. There was vigorous debate prior to the vote, with the bill's prime sponsor, GOP Senator Maureen Walsh, speaking in favor.
There have been some comments that have been made about, the fact that it was an initiative of the people. I think that initiative was passed years before we had additional information that would maybe make us rethink this policy in our state. I don't profess to have any religious motivation for this bill. My motivation is simply, this seems to be a flawed policy. We spend a lot of money, our tax money, appealing these decisions, and we have done this for many, many years. We save about $1 million to $1.5 million is the rough estimate. And again, I don't like to put a dollar amount on anything. We're talking about people's lives. But the reality is, I've spoken with enough of the families of the victims to realize and understand that the majority of them really do not get great vindication from the death of the perpetrator who killed their loved one.
Fellow Republican Mark Schuessler rose in opposition to the bill.
I have no trust in the judiciary that life without parole really means life without parole. In our court system today, does anybody have absolute confidence in anything? I don't. And for something as sensitive to our population as this, I don't have it. Maybe a vote of the people would have had it, but I'll be voting no.
The bill passed with 4 Democrats voting against it and 5 Republicans in favor, including 12th District Senator Brad Hawkins. The bill is now in the House. Coming up next, Grant County deputies are looking for a man who stole a safe Monday morning from a grocery store. And Wenatchee was recently featured on a very popular TV game show. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Hi there, my name's Patrick and I'm the branch manager here at New American Funding. Applying for a home loan is an exciting time. You may have a lot of questions about how to meet your home loan goals, the loan process, or your borrowing options. We're here to help. We do things differently here at New American Funding. Not only do we have an array of loan products and a team of specialists to support you, but we get to know you personally. We want to earn your trust and business for life. So stop by our Wenatchee or Chelan office or give us a call today.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old, fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
Welcome back. And in other news, as we mentioned earlier, Chelan County PUD commissioners began taking up the issue of the proposed carbon tax at a study session this morning. The carbon tax would affect agriculture, transportation, and energy. There are currently 2 Senate bills regarding a carbon tax, 2 House bills, and 2 initiatives. PUD General Manager Steve Wright says while reducing carbon emissions would have little impact on Chelan County electric ratepayers because hydropower is essentially emissions-free, over the next couple of weeks the PUD needs to focus on the part of the bill they know best, energy. Wright also adds that while the PUD is being proactive in tackling the issue, taking affirmative action now is a little premature.
What's the thing that we know a lot about? We know a lot about electricity, we know a lot about electric markets, and so the presentation here today is really focused on the thing that we feel we know the most about. And that our objective is to make sure that the public is aware of the impacts on the PUD and its revenues and costs associated with this proposed legislation. This may evolve to a place over the course of the next week or so where it becomes more intensely impactful to us, and we intend to keep you informed about that.
Wright says there are a couple of ways the new carbon tax bill could go. He says if the carbon tax mandates substantial expansion of requirements for electric utilities to purchase non-hydro renewable resources, it would lead to building more generating resources than are needed, increase electricity surpluses, and would reduce the value of all non-carbon emitting resources, including hydropower. But if a price on carbon in the electric sector achieves more carbon reduction for less cost than alternative policies, it reduces the use of the largest carbon emitters, which are coal and natural gas plants, while encouraging the use of least cost carbon-free resources like energy efficiency and hydropower. Grant County deputies are looking for a man who stole a safe Monday morning from the Outpost Grocery in Shawana. Around 6 a.m., deputies were called when the store clerk reported that she'd been robbed by a man wearing a ski mask and armed with a handgun. The robber escaped with an undisclosed amount of cash and the safe from inside the store. No vehicle was seen and the clerk was uninjured. The clerk described the suspect as a Hispanic male at 5 feet 9 inches tall with a thin build. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Grant County Sheriff's Office at 762-1160. Well, the TV game show Jeopardy featured what turned out to be a very challenging topic which stumped all 3 contestants. It involved a familiar geographic location.
This is Jeopardy! U.S. geography. Each correct response will end with a double E. Good.
U.S. geography E for 2000.
Located on the Columbia River in central Washington, this city calls itself the apple capital of the world. Frank.
What is Spokane?
Nope. Robert Aaron? Spokane doesn't end in a double E. Wenatchee does.
You're watching the NCW Life Evening News. Coming up next, your sports update with Eric Granstrom and our feature story for today. That and much more still to come on the NCW Life Evening News. Stay with us.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Thursday night, hockey night on the NCW Life Channel. It all begins at 7 o'clock with a call of the Wild and Clarkie's Corner. Then it's non-stop hockey action with a voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker. Join us as the Wild battle the rest of the BCHL. Thursday night is hockey night on the NCW Life Channel.
And now it's a sports update.
on the NCW Life channel.
And a good Tuesday. We begin our sports broadcast schedule this week here tonight on the NCW Life channel. We'll replay last week's girls playing game between Eastmont and West Valley on the NCW Life channel. I had the call along with Grant Olson right here.
Mason looked at the long shot, won't take it. Now the drive, now the cutoff, and there's Britta Rourke stealing the ball. She'll go coast to coast, lay it up, and good. To the rack, saves the ball inbound. Here's Cox, feeds outside to Rourke for a three-pointer, good. Fetzer outside, passes across to Wilson for a three-pointer, good. First field goal of the second half for West Valley, and it's a three by Ariel Wilson. Left side, here's a long three-pointer, dagger in the heart of Eastmont by Lexi Mason. Been kind of a balanced load for West Valley all the way through. Here's a three-pointer from the corner by Wilson. Good. Goodness gracious. 7 points for Wilson in the quarter. 16 of the ball game, and a timeout taken here by Eastmont with half of a quarter to go in somebody's season. Left side down to the corner to Peasley. Now to Cox for the drive. Step past the defense.
Layup again.
Layup for Caitlin Cox. Somebody's got to step up here. Maybe Caitlin can do it. Vaughn's going to run it up the far sideline. Pass it in the corner for a Cox three-pointer. Good! Ahead to Maddie Chandler. Chandler just throws one up, and that will be it. And Eastmont's season will come to a close here as they fall to the West Valley Rams by a final of 56-50.
You can watch that whole game tonight starting at 7 o'clock right here on the NCW Life channel. That'll be followed on Thursday with a hockey night featuring last Friday's game between the Wild and the Trail Smoke Eaters. Then on Friday, set your DVRs because we're replaying that thrilling double overtime play-in game between Eastmont and Wenatchee boys in basketball. Speaking of watching high school sports, we now have the ability to do so on demand on our website. Go to the website, ncwlife.com, and on the main menu bar on the top, you'll see Watch Now. There's a subcategory called Sports Broadcast where you can click and watch games that previously aired on the NCW Life channel. Right now we have 20 games uploaded and adding more every day, including that Eastmont Wenatchee boys game. So check it out, ncwlife.com. Well, the winter sports season is winding down, and even though we're already planning for our spring sports broadcast schedule here on the NCW Life channel, we realize that there are plenty of folks interested in high school basketball playoffs. So here's what's on tap for later this week and into the weekend. Wenatchee High will be a busy place Friday and Saturday with regional playoff basketball. On Friday, the NEAC girls face Riverside Christian at 6 in a winner to state loser out 1B regional playoff game. Then at 8 in a 2B playoff, it's Oroville boys facing Friday Harbor, also winner to state loser out. Also on Friday at Ellensburg High School, the Brewster boys play Kittitas at 8 o'clock. Both teams advance to the 2B state tournament. It's just a matter of seeding whether or not they play on the first or second day of the tournament. Saturday features 2 afternoon games at Wenatchee High School, starting with the Brewster girls and Mossy Rock and a winner to state loser out game tipping at 2 o'clock. That's followed by a 1A regional matchup between Cashmere and Lakeside. Of course, who could forget the regional game between Cashmere and Mount Baker last year at Wenatchee High School that proved to be Chapter 1 in a 2-part chapter that would spell out the eventual state championship. Cashmere and Lakeside will tip it up Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock. That's sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. As the winter snows recede and residents of north central Washington begin spreading their wings and moving about the region, they may notice something missing in the Entiat River Valley. Our featured video tonight tells the story of the work of Chelan Douglas Land Trust and its work with the Bridge to Nowhere.
I'm David Morgan. I'm with the Chelan Douglas Land Trust, and I'm here to tell you about the Bridge to Nowhere. We're here along the Entiat River in a section they call the Still Waters. This is the Cottonwood property, which we acquired in 2001. We got a generous grant from the Salmon Recovery Funding Board. That's an organization that funds fish habitat acquisition and restoration. Before the Land Trust bought the property, however, there was a plan for a subdivision here that brought in many hundreds of truckloads of fill. That basically blocked off or filled in a lot of the salmon nursery habitat, the side channels, the wetlands, the places that are very important for juvenile fish. It's where they go to hide and grow until they can compete in the main channel. And that huge bridge to nowhere was never drivable. The neighbors actually were hoping that the bridge would be completed so that they could access some of their property upstream. But the bridge, it turns out, was slowly deteriorating over the years. It was being undermined by years of river activity. As big as the bridge is, it was really too small for this site, and the river was eating away underneath it. And then this last spring, when flows were higher than we've had in several years, the bridge deteriorated significantly. The concrete foundation was being scoured from below, the bridge was essentially slowly falling into the river, and we could not wait. If the bridge had fallen in, the chemically treated wood could have harmed the water quality, the beams could have directed the flow dangerously into a neighbor's house or at the county road. We were able to agree with the neighbors that the bridge really was a liability, it was not an asset, and it needed to go before the next high flow came. We got a lot of important support from our partners to help us with this bridge removal process. The Salmon Recovery Funding Board, also Chelan County PUD, the Bureau of Reclamation, and Chelan County Natural Resource Department. We also hired 2 local contractors, Davidson House Moving based out of Kashmir and Columbia Crane out of Wenatchee. So with the bridge gone, we're looking forward to the follow-up fish habitat restoration work to try to restore the habitat that was here before the bridge and the subdivision. When we can remove this fill in the future and recreate those side channels, the wetlands, the fish will be able to access those areas for weeks or months every year, and that sort of nursery habitat is in very short supply. I'd also like to mention that the Land Trust is about a lot more than just salmon. You can come via the Land Trust properties with your paddleboard, your canoe, your kayak. You can come swim. We're about public enjoyment, and we have members who generously support our organization, so we can do work like this, and so that other people who may not even know about the Land Trust, they might just think that this property is protected forever. They might not realize it's because of a lot of dedication and support from our members. So thank you, and come visit.
You can learn more about work being done by the Chelan Douglas Land Trust on their website at cdlandtrust.org. We'll be back in just a moment with the recap of some of today's stories and your complete local weather forecast right after this.
Every golfer aims to play their best, and smart golfers turn to the Golfer's Edge to get the Golfer's Edge. PGA professional Ed Payne has you covered from tee to green. You can work on your swing or play 18 in air-conditioned comfort on the golf simulator. Tanya's Corner has all the apparel the golfer needs at sale prices. And Ed can even rebuild your favorite set of clubs or custom make you a brand new set. Ask how you can qualify for a free 30-minute lesson at the Golfer's Edge on Mission between Kittitas and Yakima.
Lake Chelan mailboxes find solutions and the best price for all your shipping needs, including UPS, FedEx, and the U.S. Postal Service. We offer a variety of services including quality copies of all sizes, faxing, scanning, sending and receiving email, laminating, and notarizing. Enjoy browsing through our large selection of greeting cards. Lake Chelan Mailboxes supports our military, fire victims, and our community. Come see us at the Plaza in Lake Chelan.
Ready Medi is healthcare made simple and affordable. We are the only direct primary care practice that provides personalized and holistic healthcare in North Central Washington. Our wellness model not only helps prevent heart attacks and strokes, but we also optimize hormones. Affordability is our goal. For example, hip surgery locally is $45,000, whereas our members have the same access for $15,000. Ready Medi, healthcare made simple and affordable.
Time now for a recap of our top stories tonight. Officials with the Wenatchee Police Department have released the names of the individuals involved in a fatal vehicle collision involving a snowplow on Skyline Drive on Saturday. Just before 8:30 a.m., a Chelan County Public Works snowplow and a 1990 Honda Civic CRX collided when the CRX lost control traveling eastbound, striking the plow blade and destroying the front end of the car. Police have identified the driver of the vehicle as 22-year-old Angel Araposa Palacios of Kashmir, who was treated for minor injuries and released from the hospital the same day. His passenger, 20-year-old Nina Carroll of Wenatchee, died as a result of injuries sustained in that collision. The driver of the snowplow, 64-year-old Jerry Gosvener of Kashmir, was not injured. Police say there was almost 2 inches of fresh snow on the roadway, playing a role in the CRX losing traction and crossing the center line of that roadway. Grant County deputies are looking for a man who stole a safe Monday morning from the Outpost Grocery in Shawano. Around 6 a.m., deputies were called when the store clerk reported that she'd been robbed by a man wearing a ski mask and armed with a handgun. The robber escaped with an undisclosed amount of cash and the safe from inside the store. No vehicle was seen and the clerk was uninjured. The clerk described the suspect as a Hispanic male around 5 feet 9 inches tall with a thin build. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Grant County Sheriff's Office at 762-1160. Time now for a look at your weather forecast for north central Washington. But first, before we do that, let's look out the ever-changing weather window on this Tuesday, which was a pretty decent day to start with. Late this afternoon, clouds rolled in. We started seeing a few snow flurries around the area and some foggy conditions as we look down at the Wenatchee Valley. And that should stick around for us tonight. We showed you at the top of the news, what we're seeing is a deep weather trough that's currently located over the western United States, leading to record cold temperatures in the west and record warm temperatures on the east coast. The Arctic air mass is bringing the coldest temperatures of the season to north central Washington, with widespread single digits reported this morning. The low temperature here in the Wenatchee area today was 11 degrees. The Arctic air will stay in place through Thursday with afternoon high temperatures in the low to mid 30s and overnight lows in the mid to upper teens. By Friday night through early next week, a series of weak weather systems will slide down from the northwest, bringing us about a 20 to 30% chance of rain and snow throughout that period. The good news is beginning on Friday, our temperatures will begin to moderate back to where we should be for this time of year, climbing into the lower to mid 40s through the upcoming weekend. And let's take a look at that forecast now. And overnight tonight, our low temperatures, once again a cold one. It'll drop down to 15 degrees, about the same tomorrow. Clouds, light winds, and 34 for our high. Lots of sun for Thursday and 37. And then we begin that warm-up I mentioned on Friday. 41 your high Friday, a 30% chance for showers on both Saturday and Sunday for the weekend. But temperatures, really no complaints about where we should be at 44 degrees. And we'll start our next work week with partly sunny skies, a slight chance of afternoon showers, high on Monday at 43 degrees. And before we leave you tonight, I'd like to remind you that if you have a video of the day you'd like to see right here on the NCW Life Evening News, message us on our Facebook page at the NCW Life channel. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-NCWL. Also, keep it right here on the NCW Life channel tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with host Dan Kuntz and News with Steve Hare. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Lake Wenatchee YMCA camp programs focus on our 4 core values of caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Make this summer's memories last a lifetime. Pick your theme week today with a wide variety of safe and engaging activities. Lake Wenatchee YMCA camp is the ultimate summer fun in the sun camp for children, teens, and families. Reserve your child's week today.
Yes, we are live from Studio 2. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We got news, we got sports, we got weather, we got obscure holiday, today in history, birthdays. Tom Potter joins me in studio. How are you? And Rod Cool is my guest today. The expert is Bonnie Orr. We're broadcasting live from Studio 4, from Studio 2, Studio 7 here in downtown Wenatchee. Time for the obscure holiday of the day. Your Dog to Work Day. Beautician's Day. It's National Selfie Day, and in honor of National Selfie Day, I'm going to take a picture of myself.
Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Mornings at 7 o'clock on the NCW Life channel.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life community calendar at ncwlife.com.